but in terms of his relationship with the game, how he interacts with teammates, how he loves the preparation process, all of those things have been double thumbs up. And so it's reasonable to expect the in-stadium performance to mirror that.
Mina, let's go to you first on this question. Across from Rodgers is Mr. Carson Wentz, who played well against the Cincinnati Bengals in Week 3. Which quarterback would you rather have in this matchup?
Carson Wentz.
My dog.
Oh, my God.
Some of it is,
my Lord.
a lot of it is competition. Just saying that. That's a big part of it. But Aaron Rodgers hasn't played well. I feel kind of crazy hearing folks say that the Steelers' passing offense looks fine. It's not fine. It's quite bad, in fact. It's all quick game. Am I wrong? It literally
but did you expect? I guess. Did you expect it to look better?
Yeah.
Really?
When he's pressured, he's 28th in QBR.
Yeah.
When he has to hold on the football for more than 2.5 seconds, he's also 28th. He has an average depth of target of 5 yards. That is dead last in the NFL. It's fine. They should have lost, by the way, to the Patriots, who fumbled that game away. This offense isn't good enough.
Right.
What are you seeing? What are people seeing in this offense? They can't run the ball. Rodgers doesn't push the ball downfield very often. He doesn't. If he has to hold on the ball for more than 2.5 seconds, it's dead.
I kind of think we all expected that, though. Like the Steelers' offense is operating how I expected it. Like
you're not disappointed watching the Steelers. You think this passing attack is fine?
I think that's what it is. Fine. I think it's fine. Fine. Like this offense is exactly what I thought it would be. Rodgers will get the ball out quick. They'll be fine in that. They can't protect. They can't run it. They can't throw it downfield. I'm way more disappointed than everything else.
That is an extremely low bar that you just laid out. They can't push the ball downfield. They can't run. Of course that's
with all due respect. Although I get what you're saying about Rodgers, and I certainly am not enamored with what I'm seeing from my Steelers right now, we're talking about Carson Wentz.
Yeah.
Okay, this is his 6th game in 3 years. So what, he went on the field against his dad. We came into the season wondering whether or not players on the defensive side of the ball for the Cincinnati Bengals should hide their names, shouldn't put their names on the back of the jerseys because they didn't want to be associated with their defense. That's how horrid the Bengals defense was perceived as being coming into this season. Now, I know they've been a little better than horrid since we've seen them over the first 3 games or so, but here's the bottom line. You're going up against the Bengals. You passed for 173 yards, a couple of touchdowns. I mean, you want a cookie? It's Carson Wentz that we're talking about here. We're going to really sit here with a straight face and say, we'd rather have Carson Wentz than Aaron Rodgers?
The Steelers defense?
Stephen A., this is a tough 38 minutes for you, okay?
Why?
One,
how is it?
It's not even a conversation who would you rather have this weekend.
Oh.
Because who you're with is the leading angle. One, against the Vikings defense.
I understand that part, but I'm just talking about the players. We get that Brian Flores and that defense is something real.
Well, that's the question.
But but I'm just talking about in terms of their abilities. Carson Wentz compared to Aaron Rodgers, what is there to write home about Carson Wentz about? That's all I'm saying.
Because I'm not playing tennis one-on-one with them. The question is, what quarterback do I want this weekend?
Right, but then I could easily say, hey, okay, I'm going to take Carson Wentz because he's got to go against the Steelers defense, whereas Aaron Rodgers has to go against the Vikings defense.
Quite literally.
That's what's going to happen.
That's what they're doing. Yeah, but that's
exactly what they're doing.
I was speaking about, excuse me, I'm supposed to be enamored and awestruck over Carson Wentz?
No.
That's all I'm saying. That's where I was coming
Honestly,
from.
though, to me, the question, Dan, goes back to the question last week. Do you want Carson Wentz or J.J. McCarthy?
That's
the question.
That's the more debatable question.
And by the way, J.J. McCarthy wasn't much to write home about other than the fourth quarter against Chicago.
Yeah.
Let's not be fools here.
Right, and I know you watch the game the way I do. I know you watch the game the way I do. We could watch that tape. Like, that wasn't all about Carson Wentz.
No.
Brian Flores was amazing.
Ridiculous.
Isaiah Rodgers made a ton of plays. Jordan Mason ran the football, and you saw why they went out. And I'm not talking about that, but you look at that first drive, the competency, the level of professionalism, the way he went through his reads, right? Second to last drive of the first half. Got right back down there. You score again. Then you open the second half with another big drive. Like, we haven't seen that team look like that offensively over a prolonged period. And so what happens is, you are right. Carson Wentz in this matchup has a better matchup than Aaron Rodgers and the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Right.
What happens when Carson Wentz plays well this week?
Yeah.
What happens when the offense looks good again this week? What happens when they win again this week? We have to have the conversation of, is it J.J. McCarthy or Carson Wentz going forward?
They're having that conversation in Minnesota. I guarantee it.
Yeah, I think they should. I think it's fair.
You heard the way they're talking about it?
I would tell you this. The biggest difference, again, Christian Darrisaw being back mattered.
Yes.
But Carson Wentz got rid of the ball so much faster than JJ. I love JJ. I'm a huge fan of JJ. I think he's got a very bright future. The game was too fast for him for the most part when he was in there. Carson plays well this weekend, and then I think they play in London next week against a good football team. If he plays well again the next 2 weeks, they'll have a bye after that. There is no question about it that they will have that conversation.
Oh, the stuff that y'all bring up sometimes, because let me tell you something. That might be a discussion, but I find it hard to believe. And if I'm management, I got to have a discussion with my head coach, Kevin O'Connell. You let Sam Darnold walk out the door after throwing 35 touchdowns, 12 interceptions, and throwing for over 4,300 yards last year. You sat up there. You didn't want Aaron Rodgers in the offseason. You wasn't thinking about anybody else. Why? Because of a rookie that never threw an NFL pass yet. Now, all of a sudden, because Carson Wentz looked relatively decent, you're going to tell me that J.J. McCarthy is in danger of not regaining the starting nod?
One, if you sign Sam Darnold, you don't have some of the pieces that you have because they rebuilt their offensive and defensive lines. So the money part of that was a part of that. They took him at 10 or 12, excuse me. And then the third thing is this. Daniel Jones took less money to go to Indy than Minnesota tried to retain Daniel Jones. So, I'm just telling you, I don't think it's, happening yet. But I surely think if he plays well the next 2 weeks.
The reason that they're having that conversation, and we're all in agreement they are, is because the best unit on the field in this game is the Vikings defense.
No doubt.
That is a Super Bowl defense, and you can't waste a Super Bowl defense with incompetent quarterback.
Average quarterback play, they're an NFC Championship contender in Minnesota. If Carson gives them that, it's going to be hard to take them off the field.
I don't think there's any argument there. I agree with that. Time to move on. Both the Chiefs and the Ravens are off to a slow start. Who has the edge when these AFC foes meet Sunday at Arrowhead Stadium? Plus, coming up next, which collapse is worse, the Mets or the Detroit Tigers? Mad Dog Russo joins after the break to go through a wild final stretch of the baseball season. Back with more in a minute.
You're watching First Take, presented by ESPN Bet Sportsbook.
Does that work for you? A winning record. He missed it 10 times out of 17 years. He's a 500 quarterback. Now, again, the 2 Super Bowl rings, he deserves to be in the Hall of Fame.
I agree.
But Russell Wilson definitely has to go if Eli Manning is going to be in there. That's all I said. So, to me, if Chris Canty wants to tell me to stay off the weed, maybe I need to get on it.
Phillip Rivers is going to the Hall of Fame?
I have a question. I don't know. I think Phillip Rivers is a different conversation.
That's a different
conversation
because
Matt Ryan won an MVP. Phillip Rivers never did that, and he doesn't have the Super Bowl, and he doesn't have those accolades.
He doesn't have the Super Bowl.
Damn
Drew Brees go to
good.
the playoffs?
Drew Brees won a Super Bowl
Drew Brees
championship.
is a first ballot Hall of Famer.
He's a first ballot Hall of Famer. Absolutely.
Drew Brees is a first ballot Hall of Famer.
I mean, I agree, but we're going to adamantly say that Drew is a first ballot and not put Eli in there?
Look, man.
We're not putting Eli in.
Not first ballot.
We're
Not
just saying
first ballot. Something wrong with you. Something wrong with you. Something wrong with you.
guys.
Dude, it's Drew Brees.
Mina,
Drew Brees is fine.
Mina, respectfully.
This is no knock.
We have bills to pay. Don't interrupt me. We got bills to pay. You like getting paid, don't you? Like getting paid, don't you? I know I do. Coming up, some people here would rather have
you do.
over Aaron